It was 1972 on a Sunday when it all clicked for me what being Irish was all about.
What does it mean to be Irish? It's a question I've been asking myself and debating internally for years and years. My name's Timi, and I moved to Ireland in 2002 as a 15-year-old. That was 18 years ago. In that time, I've become the person that I am today. I often tell people that I was born in Lagos, but made in Dublin. And that means a lot to me, to be Irish, both now and looking into the future. But to really understand that, I had to look back to what it means to the previous generation.
My name is Sherry. I was born in the 50s and worked in the Irish Times for 43 years. Michael Turner was my grandfather. At the age of 17 he joined Royal Navy and seen actions in far afield as the Pacific, and the box has his name. It was issued to all British Royal Navy British servicemen with their name on a brass plate at the front, and it's a treasured memento of him and memory of him. The box itself hadn't been seen for many years and just came across it by chance after my mother died. I took it and kind of forgot about it, and unfortunately mislaid the lid somewhere. But to me it's part of the family history. It's also the history of Ireland in a way, in that my grandfather Michael was born as a British citizen in Ireland and died as a free Irishman. I'm very proud to have it, and I think that we should remember our former history. It's very, very important to remember our history, both past and present. Irish since born out of struggle, and being Irish means having a real sense of pride. Taking all the things in that I think to be Irish, love of sport, especially Gaelic games, especially horses, horse racing, show jumping, folklore, music, and all the legends associated with Ireland. I want people outside of Ireland to look in at Ireland and say, I want to be part of that.
My name is Gillian. I grew up in the 60s in Dublin, and I didn't have a sense of what it was to be Irish at all. I was born into a family that didn't have any traditional connections to being Irish. Around me there were many people who would support the GAA, and the GAA were not part of my family. But strangely enough, my grandmother lived beside Croke Park, which, on weekends was just so lively with all the different matches and the different counties all competing together. But I felt no affinity towards that because it wasn't part of our tradition. I know there's great passion about it and I'm fascinated by it, but that reinforced my not feeling my Irishness. I found myself in my probably late teens, early 20s. I went to Kilmainham jail, and they were going over the 1916 Rising and all of the leaders that were imprisoned there. And it came to the women of this struggle, and Countess Markovich actually stood out to me because I felt some kind of affinity to her. She, well, obviously being female, but also a similar background. She was from a Protestant background. But I found, I just had an awakening inside me that I just suddenly felt, here's this woman who was born an aristocrat, a Protestant, and yet she was fighting on the ground alongside men for independence for Ireland. And I just thought that embodied everything about being Irish for me. And I suddenly felt an affinity towards her. And I felt Irish coming out there. I felt that I was part of that story and that she paved the way for me. That's the reality for me about it. I get emotional about it, actually. I wouldn't be the person I am today without women like that. And they gave me a confidence that really I didn't have before I went and saw what they did. Confidence is tied to my sense of self, which is a much stronger person. I grew in that moment, I'll be honest. It was, I'm fascinated by me. It gave me a new perspective on my own history. We're carrying our story with us, and we're bringing it to the future. We should be open to new ways of doing things, new experiences, new knowledge. And the only way you can get that is by welcoming people here and embracing them, whether they're coming back home or whether they're new people coming to Ireland from different countries. To me, to be Irish means a very strong family connection, history, and a strong sense of belonging.
In the summer of 2020, a turbulent and tumultuous time, I asked online what it means to be Irish. The responses were everything. Everything from funny to nostalgic and even that lovely happy sad feeling. It is clear to me that to be Irish means something slightly different to everyone. Each is valid as the other. I was told that to be Irish means saying thank you to the bus driver being a normal thing, saying bye at least 12 times before ending a phone call, and saying yes to any cup of tea offered, traveling the world telling other people that you're Irish and always getting love and happiness as a reaction, the joy of an All-Ireland hurling semi-final in whatever weather the day brings from a stand in Croke Park, the kettle always boiling for a cup of tea, the tonic for all. Asking a question as a greeting, but not expecting an answer. How's it going? What's the story? Chicken fillet rolls. An innate capacity for optimism, particularly in relation to the weather. The ability to swear in an entirely inoffensive way. Shared humor, a love of storytelling, no notions or all the notions, feeling a part of the land, meeting a neighbor from across the world, and having a community of people. Passionately arguing about mundane things like your family's honor is at stake. Knowing that I will, actually means that I won't. Standing up for other people and nations enduring oppression. To me, to be Irish is more than just where you're from. It's not just where you're born, it's a critical part of who I am and how I relate to the world around me. To be Irish is more. It is more than the cups of tea. It is more than the crisps. It is more than not leaving the immersion on. It is more than complaining about the weather. It is more than the sport. It is more than the extended goodbyes. To be Irish is to be. It's to want. It's to strive for more. To be Irish is to be better, to fight regardless of the odds, to complete the journey, inviting others along the way. To understand that Céad Mille Fáilte is more than just a throwaway phrase, but a way of life. And as we look forward to 2021, a new year, a year that marks 100 years since the founding of the Irish Free State, let's look to be more, because that's what it means to be Irish.